What's going on, guys? What's going on? Today we got Austin, the insurance guy, Glazer, on the show. What's up, dude?
Hi, Coach Rob. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule. Been trying to get you on the show for months now.
It seems like the inverse. It seems like it's been me trying to get on the show, but that's okay. I'm happy to be here. I hope you're as happy as I am.
Of course, dude. I'm always happy hanging out with you.
I
So,
agree.
New Year. What do you got going on? How's the year starting off for you?
So the year's been pretty busy. I own an insurance brokerage, as you know, but for those at home, and it's just like, we're approaching our 1 year of being open as a fully independent business owner, and we have a lot of renewals coming up. So it's a lot of adaptation, but nothing I can't handle. So a lot of busyness, a lot of chaoticness, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Of course, I love that. Um, and yeah, I'd like to kind of dive a little bit more into before we talk about other stuff, like share your story a little bit more because I know who you are, I know what you do, I know your story a little bit, but maybe some of the audience guys here might not have been in contact with you yet. So you said you have an insurance brokerage, and how'd you get there? What made you get into insurance? Let's start from the beginning.
Sure. So when I was 16 years old, my mother passed away of brain cancer. My dad didn't really want to be a part of the picture. I ran away, bounced around, ended up in Westchester, New York. Went to college. Fought my way through college. I had 5, 6 jobs at a time. Eventually, I went on the internet and I applied to 100 different internships. And I was like, in my mind, how can I make one job and make enough money as I'm doing with all 6 jobs? And one of the largest insurance companies in the world, they took a shot on me. I have no idea why. They must have thought I had the gift of gab or something. And they took a shot on me. I was an intern and I was basically cold calling all summer. Sorry, I have this phone ringing here. Let me close the Vonage app. 1 second. Sorry about that, Rob.
No, you're all good. We're human. It adds to it.
Yes, let me come back here. Where are you? Sorry about that. That's okay. You don't even need to cut it. That's real life shit.
Yeah, I'm not cutting
Um,
it. It's staying in.
so I basically was working full time while in college for this company. I was basically making cold calls. It was terrible. I wasn't learning anything about the business. It wasn't until one day I basically said, "Hey, give me a shot to go shadow this rep. Let me learn a little bit more about how all this works." I went on, I did that, and eventually it went well, I guess, because they made me a full time sales associate while I was a full time student in college. And I was basically doing the business while I was in college, which is unheard of. I was learning the business, I was creating referral partnerships, and before I knew it, I'd made a name for myself. I graduated college, went out as my own agency or as my own agent, still working at this big company. I went on to become Countrywide Rookie of the Year twice, 4 separate categories. Like I had a sweep, I swept every category. Eventually went on to become number 9 in the country, number 1 for life insurance. And what happened is, when you work for a really big company, there's a big brand that surrounds you and they want you to build your brand their way. Right. So we talk about branding, Rob, me, you, Brandon, all that's one of the biggest lessons we've learned through Brandon. And, they didn't let me build my brand my way. And by that point, I skipped over so many vital pieces of that story. But by that point, I was using social media as a crux. It was 2020. So we were all home every day. And I realized that opportunity existed by using social media. And before I knew it, I created this brand of Austin the Insurance Guy, the Closer Conversations podcast. And, things started to really work for me. And when I finally realized that they weren't letting me build the brand my way, I realized that I wasn't happy, right? I was making high 6 figures. I was doing very well for myself. But the reality is, Rob, I wasn't happy. And if you're not happy, why bother doing anything? And that's why I quit. I started my own insurance brokerage, Safe Shield Insurance. And I love what I'm doing. I have time to do whatever I want. Some days I get to the office at 10, some days I get to the office at 7. Some days I leave at 3, some days I leave at 9. But at the end of the day, it's on my vision and what I'm building. And to me, at the end of the day, Coach Rob, that's all that matters. It's just doing it
Yeah,
your way.
your way. Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad that you came to that realization that you weren't happy doing things their way, and you took that leap pretty much to dive into it and kind of go out on your own and really get rolling with it. I know you're probably in a pretty confident position there, doing well and really having everything under like skill wise, like you were ready for the
Skill
role. So
wise,
you
I
were,
say sure. It was still a big risk. I mean, to go from making crazy money. I mean, I took a massive pay cut in our first year,
yeah,
as every great entrepreneur does, right? But we're young once. And when you're young, you can afford to take the risk. I don't have kids. I don't have a girlfriend, and it was at the end of the day, like that was like, I think that's what drove me, right? Just the ability to feel like I can do it. And maybe it was just that young confidence that, might be for the good or the bad, but it pushed me in a direction that I'm very thankful for.
So let me ask you here, because you were in such a great position financially making money, do you think that made the leap a little easier for you? And I'm going to kind of give you a two-part question here. The second part is because it is surviving the side hustle. So a lot of the audience people are working full-time job and doing their side hustle. When, if ever, is the right time to kind of dive into the side hustle full time?
Well, I don't know, honestly. I think that it really depends on what you're sort of comfortable doing, right? I think that, to answer the first question, which was that, like, does money help me sort of realize that I could do it? I mean, that's a two-parter, right? Because sure, I had a lot of money in a 401k account that I was able to liquidate and eventually throw right into the business. But on the second tone of it, it was more actually hard to leave because it's like I'm giving up making all this money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy. You know what I mean? Now, on the
Yeah.
opposite end of the spectrum, like that was the hardest thing I had to deal with is like, do I have enough money saved where I could survive like this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely one of the hard things because it's kind of like you kind of get comfortable making that money and then you get used to the certain lifestyle and things like that. I know back when I was working tons of hours, that was the same reason. I couldn't come to the realization that I was actually going to be able to make more money if I had left the position. So I continued to work and grind because I was like so hard headed. I was like, oh, I could just grind out until I eventually ran out of hours in the day. And
Yeah.
then that's when I needed to make that switch.
And your second part of your question, what was the second question there? Sorry, what was it?
Second part of the question was when so someone is still working like a 9 to 5 and they have
When's the
that.
time?
Yeah.
Second, you're unhappy, right? I was at the point, Rob, where I was so miserable with myself and like what I'd become. I mean, but also though, like we talk about surviving the side hustle, like I have several side hustles, right? Like I own real estate, I'm a keynote speaker, I do stand up comedy. Like the reality was, I think that knowing that I had some real estate and some equity and properties in my name already, that I felt confident in the decision that if anything were to ever go belly up, like I have assets to fall back on, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
And in itself, that is a side hustle. And I think that a lot of people often think, well, when is the time to make my side hustle my reality? And, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that that's always the right approach. I think that some people, like when it's a side hustle, it's better kept a side hustle.
Hmm.
But for some people, if your idea is good enough and you're passionate about it, then it's worth making it your full-time game. But, I think that there's just such a stigma around the word side hustle. It doesn't have to be called a side hustle. If it's making you money, it's making you money, and maybe it's just because I'm in a sales position where I never really had to work a true 9 to 5, but that's just me, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear you with that. I agree too with the side hustle thing. It's sometimes it can people think of it as like just a hobby and other things, but if you're genuinely starting a business as a business and that's your goal to grow it into something, I think that's you got to treat it like that. You can't just treat it as yeah, this is just a hobby that I happen to be doing and making money. If your goal is
Just
to
throw
grow
your
it and
yeah, just
build,
throw
then
your
you got to
yeah,
do
just
it.
throw everything you got into it, right? Like, what I think that my least favorite thing in the world is that I hear when people tell me they don't have time. Okay, I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. Coach Rob, I see you on Instagram every day posting your wake up. Like you're one of them too. Like you're just like me in that sense. You have that drive. I'm up at 4 a.m. and you know what I gotta tell you? I'm in the gym a lot of the time, 2 times a day. Okay, and I own a company. I own real estate. I do this. I do that. I'm constantly on the run. The concept of not having time is fucking bullshit. And nothing drives me more crazy than when I hear people say they don't have time. Because you have time for whatever you allow yourself to have time for. If you're going to limit yourself and say, oh, I don't have time today, some days, sure, you might not actually have the time. But chances are, if you woke up a little earlier or went to bed a little later, you'd have the time.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's usually not a not having time issue. It's a prioritizing and planning kind of issue.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
And
I do so much, like planning actually drives me bananas, but I do so much of it.
yeah, well, you have to if you want to perform at a higher level.
Do you live it off
And
a calendar? Do you use a calendar?
oh yeah, I use Google Calendar, and it's like pretty much my life. And
Could you
like
imagine? Like,
Victoria
can you
kind of
believe? there are people that don't use calendars.
Oh yeah, I know of a lot of people who don't use calendars. So a
Me
couple
too,
of
and it blows my
clients I
mind.
gotta kind of push to, all right, hey, this is a new calendar. This is called like digital calendar. Use this and it'll help your life. People still
I just
writing
can't
in like
believe that.
notebooks. And I'm like,
Listen, that's not the worst thing. If you're using at least you're using something.
yeah,
Like I know people who just like live on the seam of their pants, and I'm like, I don't even understand how you like wake up in the morning. Like, how do
yeah,
you? If I didn't use a calendar, my life would be in shambles. I think that there's one characteristic that I attribute to most of my success is being that I'm a calendar guy.
yeah.
Everything's written down. Like everything is on my like. I know every minute of my day for the most part what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how you squeeze in the gym and stuff like that. And then you can look
Yeah,
ahead like, oh, damn, tomorrow is going to be super busy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my workout in. I got a little extra time today. Maybe I should squeeze it in now instead of not getting it done at all.
100%.
Taking that proactive approach. Yeah, love that. And yeah, and I love that you're also getting back into the gym and prioritizing your health too, because so many people they talk about how they don't have time to hit the gym. And like I was saying, it's more of like a prioritization and planning problem. And I love to ask people who are like, yeah, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time. And I tell them, I'm like, do you think there's anybody in a higher position than you, like same job, same everything, with kids or making more money? Like how do the more successful version of yourself, how do they make time to get to the gym and still get
That's a good
everything done?
question to ask people.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then they're just kind of like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, well, you probably planned it out. Look at your
You
day,
know,
figure it out.
and as you said that, I like maybe I love working out. Like it's in the last 6 months, it's like taken. I've always worked out. I've always gone in the mornings, but like it has taken such a different approach for me the last few months. Like it has become truly my life. And maybe it's become the gym is like a side hustle for me, and that's okay too. Like I don't know that your side hustle necessarily has to make you money.
Right.
It has to fulfill something for you, and mentally being at the gym fulfills my mental fortitude, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really good thing that people often overlook is like everything's about money, right? But if you put in the time and the effort, I believe the money will always follow. That's just me, and maybe I'm a wishful thinker, but I think that that's can't hurt to think that way.
No, definitely. I love that. And yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I have fitness and like training as like the first pillar of my coaching program, because it's a huge representative of who you are, how you conduct business, how you plan and prioritize. It shows discipline. You're walking billboard. So the
Yeah,
better shape that you keep yourself in, chances are your business is probably running a little bit better too because of those
hundred
same
percent.
things. So yeah, what are you doing now? Because I know you were cycling a lot. Are you now shifting into some more weights and stuff? What's your kind of like game plan looking like in the gym?
Yeah, sure. Good question. So, I mean, like I've always been in the gym lifting, I've always done cardio. I think that in the last couple of months though, like it's shifted so dramatically. Like I'm doing like cardio and lifting like to a point I've never done it. Like I'll do like a workout class in the morning and then I'll lift right after and I'll do a workout class and like I'm killing my body, but I'm almost
Hmm.
benching 300 pounds now. I'm squatting like almost 300 pounds as well. So it's like the gains I'm seeing are tremendous. And it's, again, I find that this is a very big thing that I have with people though, is like, they're like, what's your fitness goals? And I'm like, you know what? I don't really have any. I think that my goal is more like to just be as healthy as I can. And again, mentally fulfilled.
Yeah,
So like what I'm doing in the gym, and like I mean, I'm on a routine. Like I know like what my like I'm a routine driven person, so I know what I'm doing. I know like what I want to happen, but like that's not the reason I'm there. I'm there like today, for example, my body is destroyed. I killed myself the last 3 days. My ankles hurt, my shoulders hurt, and you know what? I had to go to the gym this morning, and you know what I did because my body doesn't work right now. So I literally sat there in the leg sleeves, put some hip sleeves on. I did some massage gun. I did sauna steam. I did recovery because at the end of the day, it's so important to start my day at that gym. It's what kickstarts everything. And if
no,
that
yeah,
domino doesn't fall, the rest won't fall either.
yeah, dude. I love that you said that too, because I was just having a conversation with somebody where they made a commitment of going to the gym at least 3 times a week, and then they bailed twice of the times that they were supposed to go, and on the third time they didn't go to the gym, but they got a workout in at home, a small quick
Okay.
one. And I said, yeah, that's good, but remember the commitment was to get to the gym, because you're building this trust and building the
The
discipline within
routine.
yourself. So
Yeah.
if you're just gonna do stretches or something, just go to the gym and just get some of that in, so you build that, because that's the hardest part, is just getting into the gym.
I don't know about you, but like part of going to the gym for me is also like I see people and it's more of like it's become like not that I stand there and I talk and I bullshit, but like it's become more of a social thing for me too. Like, I mean, I work in an office in Chappaqua. More often than not, I don't have people here with me. If I don't have a networking event, like, dude, there are days like if I don't go to the gym, which that's actually very rare. But let's say I didn't go to the gym, right? And I came to my office in Chappaqua, dude. The odds of me actually having a conversation with someone in person is zero.
Yeah.
Like it's so much more than getting in shape and lifting weights and being strong. It's important to your mental to get
Yeah.
there and do the things and like my routine and like it is the most important domino. Like you were saying, the first pillar of your coaching program is talking about fitness and training, right? And for me, the first pillar is waking up in the morning and doing something. Because one of the funny things you talked about going to the gym a second ago, like you said, I was a cyclist. I really did cycling. I love cycling, but I always preferred going to the gym than cycling in the mornings. Like cycling was sort of reserved for the weekends
Hmm.
because it's harder to control things like your times and stuff like that. If I'm just doing an outside cycle, like I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I just like knowing that I have a set plan. That's what's on my calendar. You know, it all ties back. Like it's not about having time. It's not about getting strong. It's about routines, calendars, and mental fortitude.
Yeah, and I love that. Calendar reduces decision fatigue, so then it just becomes automatic part of it.
Yep.
The plan, the routine, all of that, and mental fortitude too. That's awesome too, because I wanted to ask you. You're training in the gym. You are pretty confident guy. You love to talk. I know we've been through speaker school. That's kind of a little bit of a push in essence of challenging yourself mentally in your comfort zone. And you're like I was just saying, you're very confident, easy to communicate with. What are some other things that you're kind of challenging or pushing yourself? I guess in like the mental game of pushing yourself in the comfort zone. You,
That's a great
does that make
question.
sense? I don't know if that was
Yeah.
too confusing.
No, that's a great question. And I don't think people ask that enough, right? Because I once, I think when I did one of my public speakings, I said something along the lines of if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right. And I think that if you think you're the best and you're not working on yourself and continuing to evolve, you're again doing the wrong things. So some of the things that I'm working on right now, just mentally, is for one, being able to delegate. I have a great team that works with me here at Safe Shield. And while I bring in most of the clients, like when they get to a renewal point, like I can't be the person that's on the phone with these people. Like I have to be focused on bringing in other new business. And while I know I could save that client from going somewhere else, I have to have faith that my staff that I've trained can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest thing for me is kind of, I wouldn't say letting your ego, I mean, yeah, no, like like checking my ego and saying, you train them, like they're good, like they know what they're doing, like work with them,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I'd say delegating is a really big one for me right now. Like just being able to say to someone, you can do this, like I don't need to be involved. Like it'll still get done. The world won't stop if Austin doesn't do it. I am also trying to just be more conscious of my spending,
Mm-hmm.
not spending as loosely because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. And
True.
third and most importantly, just making sure that I wake up with a smile on my face every day because I chose the path that I'm taking, even when it gets tough.
Yeah. That's love that, dude. And yeah, and I was leaning towards more like I wanted to bring up the fact because you had mentioned when you first got started with the big insurance company, you were kind of just going nonstop with the cold calling, and you said you weren't really growing or learning much. And I wanted
Sure.
to ask, do you think it you were still growing and learning, but in a different terms or way, I guess, because in a way you were
Make sure more.
growing and learning skill development of the cold calling, building that
Yeah.
confidence. And now that kind of carries over. And now do you see yourself trying to teach that to the people that you hire? Or are they
Good
already coming
question,
on
coach.
where they're already pretty good?
So like my assistant Eric, like I've tried to get him on cold calls and learn that stuff, but to be honest, I don't find that cold calling is effective anymore. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a saying that if you're in sales, the way you sell is how you're sold, right? And what that means is basically if you sell on a very direct basis, you're going to buy from someone who's very direct. Now, for me, my selling style is not that of cold calling. Like I'm more of a handshaking person. You get referred to me and we do business together. So in terms of cold calling, no, I'm not. I mean, like a little bit. I'm teaching him because I'm not looking for him to bring in leads by cold calling. What I'm looking for is for him to be able to get on the phone and talk to someone and be confident.
Mm-hmm.
So we work on that stuff sometimes. I've thrown him on the phone a bunch of times, and what I really do though is, Rob, is I throw him on with clients. If I don't close a deal, it's okay. You got experience. I'm
Hmm.
here for the teamwork. Like I love my team, um, and I'm all about whatever helps them grow. And that's
Nice.
why like we constantly we have weekly meetings where we kind of go over what we think are some things we should all be working on, and then we put them into action.
Yeah. And you said if they don't necessarily, or if you don't necessarily close a client, it's still good because you're kind of learning experience there. And I really appreciate you saying that because, as you know, my challenge, I just did that 53 miles and it's a pretty big failure.
Yeah,
And
I've been meaning to ask about that. How did that go? You didn't get 100, right?
nah, I ended up finished at 53. So two
Well, did you think you
marathons
were going
in
to get
24
100?
hours. I didn't at first. I just really wanted to kind of set the bar high and push myself. In a way, I was kind of like, as I would continue to think about it, mathematically, you just need to maintain a 14-minute mile to get
Okay,
100 in 24 hours. So I was like, all right, if I'm
that's like
running,
14. That's literally that's straight. That's no
yeah,
stopping though, right?
yeah. And I'm like, all right, I could probably continue going. And if I run at like an 8:30 mile pace comfortably, then I could probably slow down and go at a like much slower pace. And I was like, I could probably do this. So when I was running the first marathon, my girlfriend checked in on me. She's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "Right now, I'm on pace to finish 100 miles by hour 19." So I was like way ahead.
Oh, you
And
you
then that
fucked
just
up a
kind of
little.
like, yeah. So I was a little ahead, and then things started falling apart around mile 30. So
Did you go straight for the first mile?
for the first mile,
Not first 26.
yeah. So I went from
Dude, that's
start.
great.
I started at 2 p.m. and I went until mile 41 and I was basically hobbling. So I had shifted to go inside on the treadmill because it was getting dark out and I couldn't even maintain a zero point 0.5 on the treadmill. I was like barely moving. So
How
then
miserable were you the next day?
it was tough and so I couldn't even move my legs or anything. It was like I had two peg legs and I called it around like 12:30 right after mile 41. I went upstairs, I elevated my feet, went to sleep, woke up around like 8:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, strapped the shoes back on and continued because the original goal was to run for 24 hours. The target was 100 miles in 24 hours. So I got back down and I continued going. And that little bit of sleep there helped reduce some of the swelling. And then I was able to kind of pick back up and finish out. But
What'd you do?
that was pretty
53
brutal.
miles?
Yeah, 53. So as I was getting
You
closer to that
understand that's
50
like
mark,
unbelievable, right?
yeah, dude, I was talking to a buddy of mine who actually coaches ultra endurance running. And
Yeah, that's what David Goggins does.
he was like, the fact that your longest run in training was only 5 miles and you did that a week before the competition. He's like, dude, I'm surprised you even made it to like 15 miles.
Yeah, you should go run a real marathon now.
Well, I ran like a fake marathon a couple of years ago, and that's
20,
without
by the way,
training at
26
all.
miles counts no matter what. Like I call it a marathon. Like you hit 26. That's the most impressive shit I ever heard.
Well, a couple of years ago, I did 27 miles, no training, and every mile I had to do 150 reps of exercises. So
Dude, what's up with you?
I ended up doing like 27 miles and like 4,000 reps of these different exercises. So me doing that untrained, I was like, you know what? Maybe I could do this 100 miles, no, without anything.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, it was good. We raised some money for the kids. Laureus Foundation, which was founded by Nelson Mandela, so that's kind of cool. Um,
That is
pretty
cool.
pretty good stuff there. But tell me, dude, new year, what are some goals you got going for the year? Like, what are you looking to do with the business? I know you said you have some of your own personal kind of things you got going, but for the business itself.
The business itself is to continue on the same trajectory. I have some like internal financial goals that I want to hit for the agency. I want to keep hiring. Rob, at the end of the day, I'm looking to build the largest insurance agency in the Northeast and hopefully the world.
Nice.
And I think that all my goals are long-term goals. And I think the 12 months are just benchmarks. They're just checks and check-ins to make sure
Yeah.
that you're on your path. My biggest goal, Rob, is just to make sure that I'm smiling when I wake up. I'm serious. Because I've been really low before. And this business can do that to you. And if you let it do it, you lose. And I just want to win, baby.
Nice. Win win win. Well, so what is the size of your business right now? It's just you and Eric or
No, we've got four producers and we got me.
okay, cool. So you is your target like trying to get more producers? Are you trying to bring because you said you want to grow it. So like ideally,
Well,
what are you looking to
so
do a year
so
for
primarily
people?
like we have two of the people that work here, they work directly on my team. So like I'm bringing in such a volume of leads that I can't work them all
Mm.
myself. And there's a lot of evolution that's taking place in the insurance industry that's causing me to have to pivot and change the way I do things. So it's getting people that are experienced to be here and no training, just jump right in, start selling, start working. Because the thing is, when I have a bad week, the entire agency has a bad numbers wise. And if I could bring someone else that's established, they could kind of salvage what the agency does. I mean, personally, Rob, I'm writing enough business a year that is basically more than like 4 or 5 producers at like a big company.
Wow, it's
So it
crazy.
would be better if I could bring in like 1 or 2 more people that are established and been doing this for a bit.
Nice. Where do you find these like qualified guys?
I
You
don't
just
know.
kind of meet them randomly at network events and such.
I haven't had any luck yet.
Uh, well, guess you got to get Connect CTNY out there and start having more events.
I'm very lucky with the staff I have. I truly do love everybody that works here. Um, we need some more experienced people though, and that's the ones where it's going to be hard to. It's hard to get someone from working for a big company where they offer you all kinds of shit to come believe in a pipe dream and come work for
Yeah,
you. And being young as I am, not many people want a young boss, but you got to see how it goes.
true. I can see that. So you got the insurance thing going. You got a couple other little things like real estate and such. You've got the Connect CTNY, which I just mentioned. You want to share a little bit about that?
Sure, Connect CTNY. We're just a networking community designed to change the way networking is done. My partner Mike Spindler and I, we found that networking was sort of just this buttoned up approach where you'd go and you would just talk about what you do for a living. And the one rule I have in business, Rob, is when I'm at a meeting and I'm talking to someone, it's don't talk about business. I may be really great at what I do, but one of the things I hate talking about the most to people that I don't know that well is business because that's not what makes me successful. What makes me successful is I'm a great talker. I know my products better than anyone, but I'm really good at getting to know people because I genuinely enjoy meeting new people. I don't want to know what you like. I want to know the 30-second spark notes of what you do. And then we could talk about stuff like what do you do in your free time? Like I like that. Like I love telling people that I do stand up comedy. I love telling people that I'm a keynote speaker. Because to me, that's fun. That makes me unique. That makes me memorable. So we designed Connect CTMY as this unbuttoned networking approach. Come, get drunk, have a great time. A lot of my friends, and the crazy thing is the people that go to these are people that I met through business that have now become friends and they've become family. And when they come, we can welcome new people into our circles. It's one of the most rewarding things. And Connect CT is one of the things I'm most proud of that I've been able to build alongside my partner, Mike.
I've really liked the unbuttoned approach to it because it kind of gives everybody permission to relax, chill out, and kind of just be their normal self. And
Right.
it's easy when you're working like an animal all the time that you don't prioritize like downtime and kind of relaxing and stuff like that. So how do you attack that? How do you make sure that your battery's full and you kind of like separate yourself from work to kind of chill out kind of thing?
Well, I think that's a really good question. I don't think this might be frowned upon. I don't think there's a balance. Like there is to a degree. Like one thing I'll tell you on the weekends, I don't carry my work cell phone with me. I don't answer any work emails. I don't do anything for work. Um, Sundays I do literally nothing. I don't even leave my couch 99% of the time. I'll clean my house. I'll go to the grocery store, and it's back on the couch. It's like 2 hours of activity, and then I do consume like 7,000 calories,
Nice.
which is crazy. Um, but like, there's no turning this off, Rob. Like an email comes in, I answer it, and maybe that's what makes me different than my competition and everybody else in different industries who are trying to make it big. Um, the reality is there's no turning off because I love what I do. And I've ingrained what I do into who I am. Austin, the insurance guy, isn't just a brand. It's the way I live my life. And being that I'm able to live my life like this, it doesn't even feel like work. The only thing that sucks is this commute to my office. Like I hate that. But other than that, like I'm very happy with who I am, what I'm doing. I wouldn't change it for the world. And that's why if there's anybody who, is doing something maybe as a side hustle and they think it can be something and they want to take that leap, they should, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to tell you what to do. I mean, complacency is the best friend of the devil. And if you let the devil win, guess what? You lose. So take the chance, take the leap, see how it goes.
Yeah, let me ask you though, because you've really made your career out of who you are,
Mm-hmm.
but who helped create you who you are? Because had a little iffy, you got, it was a kind of crazy upbringing. Who were some like role models or like mentors you kind of look to, like that helps you kind of shape who you are?
So when my mom died, after bouncing around for quite a bit, after quite a few places, I ended up living with my uncle in Westchester and my aunt. And my uncle would never admit to this, but one of the things is he was so hard on me. He still is to this day. He's kind of mean to me, honestly. But the way he treated me after being someone who had everything handed to me growing up, it taught me the value of the dollar more than anything in the world. And I don't know that I'd ever tell him that he did this for me. And there's a 0% chance he ever sees this because he doesn't even follow me on social media. Um, I attribute a lot of this to him. He really motivated me to like. I was told when I'm 18, you're out of the house. Like we're not giving any food. We're not giving you any money. Like you got to go figure it out. They always give me food. We're not giving you any money to do this. Go figure it out. And that sort of like was a motivator. And then if I had to give you another mentor, like there's two. There's this guy I used to work under. His name's Ian. He taught me the business itself, but learning the business, I don't think made me who I am. The person that I think really made me who I am is my grandfather, Ronnie Podkin, one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet in your life. It's funny, I stumbled upon a picture today from 5 years ago. I put on my Instagram story, and it's just this man was the coolest motherfucker to ever do it. He wear like 4 gold chains. Ronnie Podkin, how you doing? And that's just who he was. He was me in 60 years. Um, Loved to golf. He was a big part in Hebrew National, the hot dog company. Loved music, loved golf, you name it. He was just the coolest guy in the world. And the reality was, is he built everything himself too. Him and my great uncle Harvey. They used to work for, or they started a company called Poker Packing. What they do is they were kosher butchers, and they would sell all the meat to all the big companies. And they were kingpins. They had, hundreds, thousands of employees at their warehouses in Brooklyn. And eventually, Hebrew National, the hot dog company, was just getting off the ground, and they bought Poker Packing, which went on to be their kosher division, which became everything. My great uncle Harvey was the president of the company, and my grandfather Ronnie was the vice president of the company. So their business acumen was unprecedented. But the way they lived their lives, man, they lived their lives with as if tomorrow was their last day, and every day was about just having a smile on your face and doing what you love. So those guys, man, they were special.
So did you get to hang out or spend a lot of time with your grandfather growing
I
up,
lived with
or
him
because you're?
for I. So actually, I mean, I did spend a lot of time. So when I moved to Florida in ninth grade, I was there for 2.5 years, but I was with my grandfather every weekend.
Mm,
When my mom did die, I went and lived after a few houses. I lived with my grandfather for about 6 months, where I was going down a bad path, and that's why I got out of there. But those are special times. I mean, but really though, like I always made it a mission. Like I would go down 3 or 4 times a year, and I would just stay at his house in Boca Raton. And I mean, Rob, I'm not kidding. I'd go down there, just me and him, 85-year-old guy, 80-year-old guy. My grandmother, she passed away eventually too, but before he only passed a few years ago. My grandmother was before that, but I would always make it a mission to go down to Florida. I'd been going to that house my entire life. Um, and the crazy thing is, my great uncle Harvey, he had a house right down the block in the same gated community. So, every Christmas there'd be, 20 of us between the two houses. And, that generation is unfortunately all gone now. They've all passed. My Harvey's daughter, Jill, she bought a house right down the block. And after my grandfather passed, Carrie, my uncle that took me to Westchester, bought my grandfather's house. So the generations continue to take over Boca Woods. And, like, for example, I just got back a few days ago, all 20 of us were back there. And now it's a new generation, and we're still taking over Boca Woods. And to me, I said this in a eulogy. I've never really gone into detail about my family or anything on a podcast, but the coolest thing about my grandfather was not who he was, but the legacy he left and the legacy he built for us, which was Boca Woods. Because that's where our family goes every Christmas, a few times a year. We all spend time together, and we love being around each other. We play golf. I mean, listen, I'm a guy that has ADHD and can't stop moving. I go down there for 10 days. I do nothing. I don't think about work. I think about nothing but being with my family. And to me, that's the most special thing. And that's why when you ask who is someone that's like a hero and a role model for you, Ronnie Potkin all day and night. That man made my life what it is. And I'm so thankful, and I miss him tremendously.
oh, that's awesome, dude. Oh man, yeah. I appreciate you sharing a little bit more about your family because I haven't really heard you share too much about your family over the years, and I can see how like Connect CT, how you run your business, how everything kind of flows together. Place a lot of emphasis on the relationship building and kind of community building, and I
I
can
mean,
see
I
how
just
that helps a
believe,
lot.
like Rob, I just believe that at the end of the day, like I think a lot of people fail in business and a lot of people make it in business. But the reality is a couple things. Like I want to make it in business on my terms, and I want to do it my way, right? And I think that kind of what you were saying earlier, like I want my pillar. My first pillar will always be insurance. That is who I am. But everything that feeds in through it, it's all what I've built, and it's all methodical. Like every move I make, like I never want anyone to think that I do anything spontaneously because everything I do is thought through, and it's all based on relationships, and it all ties back to like I don't give a fuck what you do for a living. If I like you, like let's do business. You know what I mean? Like, and it just listen. I keep saying this, but at the end of the day, if you're happy and you love what you do, it's not work. It's not hard to think these things through. It's not hard to find the time and go to the gym. It's not hard to be you. It's not hard to make money. What's hard is finding what you love and then running with it.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, it's a little bit harder even when you get stuck in a like job or position where you don't feel fulfilled
It's the
and you
rat
are trapped
race.
under that paycheck, and you're like, I can't leave, I can't do anything else because you rely so heavily on that paycheck.
It's the rat race.
Yeah, that's tough. So um, if you were to boil it all down and pick one piece of advice to survive the side hustle or just be successful in general, curious to see what would you say is that one piece.
It's funny. I have a brother that I never talk about. I used to be really close with him when I was growing up. And up until I left that really big insurance company, him and I would speak every fucking day, like texts every day. And one of the things when I was a kid, because he's 12 years older than me, when I was a kid, and by the way, we worked for the same insurance company. We were like the Glazer brothers. We took over the goddamn world together. And one of the cool things, he always, not cool, I mean, I always think it was crazy. He would always say to me, just be you. Just be you. And that was the voice he would do. He would go low and just be you. At the end of the day, that's all you can do. Just be you. Be the person that you want to be and watch what happens. Everybody is out here trying to be something they're not. And I've been guilty of it in the past. You wear a crazy watch, you live a certain lifestyle, you drive a crazy car, you have the biggest house. You know what the best thing is? Having a car that's fully paid off, a house that's fully paid off, living below your means so that when it gets tough, you don't have anyone to impress and you don't have anywhere to go because you're fine. Everybody is so focused on what everybody else thinks, but not enough people are focused on just being themselves and being happy in their own skin with who they are. And you know where that all starts? It starts on your calendar when you create routines and you build out blocks to get your ass to the gym and make yourself more confident in your own skin. So, my one piece of advice that I'm giving to everybody, Rob, just be you.
Be you. Yeah, I love that, dude. But that could be difficult, like you said. So some people struggle to kind of figure out like what it is exactly they want and all those things too. And
Don't
you're
you have a
saying
coaching program?
calendars.
Can't they call you?
Oh yeah, I mean,
All
I
right,
help
good.
people figure that out. That's the
All right,
specialty.
good. So we're plugging you here. So listen, if you can't be you and you need somewhere to go, I got a coach just for you. Call Rob Trax and he'll help you.
Yeah, love that, dude. Shameless shout out.
How you
Well,
doing?
what about for yourself now? How do people get in contact with you? I need insurance. Where do I go?
Don't call me. No, I'm just kidding. Just look me up on Instagram, Austin Glazer. You'll see everything you could ever need to see from there. Um,
What do you
yeah.
got planned coming up? You got any performances, stage, stand up, anything, speaking? Anything on the
Dude,
calendar
I
right now?
don't. Oh, yes, I do. I'm actually speaking at A to B. It hasn't been announced yet. But, I was actually thinking about something pretty cool today, Rob. We could say we're sharing the stage with Ed Milet and Jen Gottlieb. I don't know who these people are. But, like, I've heard they're pretty powerful people. And, like, we're sharing a stage with them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Between Alex Morton and Jen Gottlieb, I think they've got.
Oh, I was
I think
wrong. It's not Ed Milet. It's Alex Morton.
I don't know. Maybe Alex Morton is definitely confirmed, but I don't know about Ed Milet. But
Okay. I
between
could be
those
making this
guys,
up. I have no
between
idea.
Jen and Alex, they've got over 2 million followers. So it's
Right. And
pretty
then there's
big.
little old us. And I also have speaker school. I think you're going to be at. Dude, I got to
Yeah.
like step that up. I like love doing I got to be honest with you. I love the public speaking stuff like probably more than I do anything confidence. Like I love just being able to get on a stage and just like helping others like truly realize their full potential. You know what I mean? Like I think that one day when I retire in the next 9 years, I want to fully just commit myself to helping people live a better life.
All right. So there you go. Heard it first. Stay tuned for Austin Glazer, the coaching program coming out in the next 9 years.
Retirement coming, baby.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. Dude, I appreciate you taking the time and hopping on today. I know you're pretty busy fitting me in the calendar. Love that.
Calendar, baby.
You got anything else you want to share, promote real quick?
Yeah, you guys should buy insurance from me. I'm the man.
There you
And
go.
you
You
should
know
get
where to
coaching
find
from
him.
Coach Rob if you don't have the time to call me.
There you go. Two of them. Boom, boom.
How
Get
you
it done.
doing? See you
But
later.
seriously, dude, though, I appreciate you taking the time. We got to connect again. We got to go out, grab some food or something.
Some beers, I'm
Drinks.
in.
I'm waiting for the next CTNY event. I don't know when that's popping
Tell
up,
Mike.
but
Let Mike plan the next one. Tell Mike to get his ass on it, and we'll get an event going soon.
all right, I'll get on it right after this call.
All right, good. Put on the calendar.
Yeah. All right, dude. Appreciate it, man. Let's do it again soon sometime. All right.
All right.
Peace, peace, peace.